Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the North Carolina Business Podcast. Here we talk with the owners about their products and services that they offer in their business, and we learn about their story. We find out about their life's journey and what was it that inspired them to become entrepreneurs. So grab a glass of iced tea or your beverage of choice and join us in a nice conversation to get to know another great North Carolina business owner. Hi, I want to welcome today Chris Lanning with us. Chris lives in Winston Salem. Hello, Chris. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you doing, Amanda?
Doing good. Doing good. Yes, I'm excited to have you on with us. Little background about how you and I met. We were in college together and we did several activities together, one of which was a short film that we did together. Remember that?
That was great. I absolutely do. That was a blast.
That was fun. That was fun.
It was a video for the college. They wanted us to do like a promotional video, and so I had this great idea for you were playing a student that was taking a tour of the college. Our communications professor, Mr. Bloodworth, was playing your dad, and then we had Dan, who went on to be a big-time professional wrestler, was playing your tour guide. And so we just kept popping. We were using the special effects to pop in and out of all the different locations at campus. It was a blast.
That was great. That was great. And isn't that how Methodist College got known worldwide? No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I think the way that worked out is they viewed the video. They said, that's really cool, but totally not what we wanted. And then they never used it. So,
exactly.
Okay. Always ahead of my time.
That's right. Excellent.
Especially when Dan ended up in the water fountain. That was the best.
That's true. That's true. Yes. They're at the bell tower. Yes. And this is at Methodist College in Fayetteville. All right. And also I wanted to say that I really enjoyed having you as one of my coaching clients and that we still work together. We have some projects in line that perhaps we'll talk a little bit about later. But if you don't mind, just take a minute and tell us about you, tell us about your background and whatever you'd like to tell us.
Sure. Well, I guess to start, we should say what I am now, so the background makes a little more sense. I run Neighborhood Stage Productions, and Neighborhood Stage Productions, essentially the majority of what it does is podcast editing. We say that we try to help clients and solopreneurs and entrepreneurs build and develop a podcast that sounds as professional as they are. And I arrived at this because I started listening to podcasts, believe it or not, Christmas, and now I'm editing a whole bunch of podcasts. I'm sorry, I should have said Christmas 2005. That's where I got kind of confused. You know what the funny thing is, there's a lot of successful podcasters out here that weren't even alive when I listened to my first podcast. That's crazy. But I listened to, it was in 2005. I got a new MP3 player. I listened to a podcast and I'd heard about them. I didn't know what they were, but I listened to it and went, I kind of like this. And within a few months, I had created my own podcast. I had that for 3.5 years. I've done several since. And then I started editing podcasts for other clients. I have probably at this point edited over 2,000 separate episodes of podcasts, probably covering somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 different podcasts for several clients. I've got some that are over 200 episodes. I got one, she's actually coming up on 200 episodes.
Wow.
Others that are at 100 plus episodes. So, I've been editing audio a long time.
Excellent.
But I like helping clients sound professional because one of the things that I like to do, and I get a little crazy on this, but the ums and the ahs, they drive me nuts. And I guess that's come the era that we grew up in. People on radio didn't and ah. People on TV didn't and ah. As I say that. So I work really hard to remove, those will all be removed by the time you listen to it. But I work hard to remove all those because, again, I want my clients to sound very professional. some people today, they're more about, it being real or whatever. I always say this to them when they say, I just want it to be real and authentic. I'm like, okay, you want to be authentic? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get up tomorrow morning, okay? Put on your shoes and go to work. Now, this doesn't really work right now with the whole COVID-19 because nobody's leaving their house, they're staying in their house. But back when people were actually going to work, I was like, get out of bed, put on your shoes and go to work. Don't brush your teeth, don't change your clothes, don't fix your hair. Just go to work. Then you are 100% authentic. That if you want to be real and authentic, then do that. And then of course they're like,
Right.
oh well, And that's what we do with the audio. We clean up. It's not that we try to make you sound like a robot. I never do that. But it makes you sound better and it gets rid of the things that might distract people from you. And it also saves a lot of time. You respect your audience. There have been times I've had let's say a 36-minute recording that someone has done of a podcast. I take out the ums, the ahs, the spaces, the stutters, don't take out a single word of content, and it ends up at 24 minutes. So an
Wow.
entire third of the
A third
podcast
of
is
it.
removed without removing any content whatsoever. So I just tell
Wow.
people, respect your audience's time. Everybody's got limited time, even in the midst of everything that's going on now and being home all the time, people still have limited time. So that's what I try to do. I try to make your podcast tight, to the point, everything gets across, and you sound as professional as we know you are.
Excellent. That's awesome. You have also helped me to, with ideas about how to set up this podcast, and I appreciate your help with that. What suggestions would you give somebody who's thinking about doing a podcast? What would you tell them?
Well, it's funny. We always joke about this. For me, I always say keep it short. It's actually, to me, it's better to do more short episodes than to do, let's say, a once a week, really long episode. Put it out every couple of days. Keep it short. Even if you have an interview that goes long, split that up into a couple different things because you're delivering more stuff to people. You stay in front of their ears more. You're bringing them more content on a regular basis. They get to know you. They get to feel like you're part of their life because, whether it's every day or every other day, they're listening to more information from you as opposed to once a week. Oh yeah, did he put out an episode this week? Or, wait, did she do one this week or last? I don't remember. Make them expect to want to listen to you all the time. And if you keep it short, they can fit that into the schedule and you can be a part of their lives very often. And that's going to be useful if you're really trying to build a name for yourself with them and get them to, what do they say, know and like you, know, like, and trust you.
Hmm.
Especially if you're trying to ultimately get business from them. You want people to feel like you're a member of the family or a very close friend rather than just somebody that puts out content once in a while.
Hmm. Excellent. Yes, yes. And there's so many podcasts nowadays about pretty much just about any subject, or some people just put it out about their daily lives. I mean, it's seems like
Yeah.
it's come full circle about everything, not just business. Yeah, a little bit of everything. In addition to podcasts, what other services does Neighborhood Stage Productions offer?
Voiceovers for one. I love to do voiceovers. I do like to listen to the sound of my voice. I'm just saying. Um, one of the other things that I just started recently too was putting out these videos. They're kind of faith-based videos. It's a brand I'm calling Heart of Faith. Short, usually 1 minute videos that just capture the attention and just kind of deliver some little thought-provoking thing related to faith. And part of why I came up with that too is I want to be able to offer those to various faith-based organizations and churches to use as content for their social media. And for the most part, most of the ones that I'm putting out, the generic ones, would be free of charge. You would just be able to take it, share it on your social media, and get the impact from it. From that, yes, I'm hoping to offer some additional services. That there's churches that, they're trying to put together introductions to their sermons or other promotional videos. and audio, they can come to me and I'll help them put that together as well. I've actually been doing that for my own local church. In fact, just before we jumped on here, I was sitting here writing a script for the next sermon series because I have to get that video out in the next day or two. But I enjoy doing that. It's a way to capture people's attention, particularly in today's age when people are expecting everything to kind of be video and short and sweet. And, we're in a social media world. But having that ability to put that together for clients, I definitely jazzes me up when I get that opportunity.
Most definitely. That sounds very interesting, and you can help churches out or different organizations out and whatever they may need, right? They can contact you and see what it is they need, if it's on a weekly basis or monthly basis. How would that work?
Well, they would just go to the website and actually the Heart of Faith, there's a section for Heart of Faith, and you can go in and you can reach out and basically do a consultation call with me. So if you have an idea on something, you just sign up for a call. We'll get on it. I'll talk it over with you, find out the best way for you to present that, or, how to put that together. And, it kind of takes some of that worry out of it. It's like you had this nebulous idea of, well, I think it'd be kind of cool if, and then I can maybe help you concrete that and turn that into an actual product. It turned out I originally did one of these voluntarily for my church just a few months ago. And I had heard the minister mention the title of the next sermon series and just like a little bit about what it was going to involve. And it sparked a creative idea in me. And I put together this video and I sent it to them. They didn't even ask for it. I sent it to them. And they were so excited because they're like, you don't understand. This is what we've been looking to want to do something that we can start a sermon with to give us time to get the praise band off the stage and get the minister on the stage. Again, this was all pre-quarantine. But that had been their toughest transition, was they didn't know how to, when the praise band ended, to get the minister into the sermon without something to buffer. They knew they needed something. They just didn't know what. And here I was throwing this video at them and they're like, that's it. That's what we've been looking for. So that's what I would like to do for people. Even if you just have a vague notion of something you want, talk it out. Maybe that there's an idea that I've got for you that's going to work, because I've had experience with different things through the years, whether it's podcast or short videos and that's the key today, I think, is you got to talk to people that just have done this stuff. You don't need to be the expert on everything. There are areas that I am definitely not an expert in. So that's when you reach out and you find others who are, and you work together to put together these, amazing products. And together we work well. I think you and I have found that when we're talking over some creative ideas. You've got strengths, I've got strengths, and we get together, we get some great ideas coming out.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, I look forward to working with you in a couple of projects that we've already started talking about and thinking about, and I look forward to bringing those to fruition hopefully soon. I'm excited about that. Yes. So
Yep.
I don't hear
Awesome.
a Southern drawl from you. So I know you're not originally from North Carolina. So tell me a little bit about how it is you came,
Really?
where you're from originally. I don't hear the y'all. A little bit
No.
about your background. Yeah.
I actually grew up in South Jersey, which was the area we were in was kind of outside of Philly. So I kind of have more of a Philly accent maybe, or used to anyway. Talk like South Jersey in the water and, birthday and all those fun stuff. But I ended up going to Methodist College in Fayetteville for college. And I just fell in love with the area. I mean, I met a lot of people from North Carolina, and the climate was certainly a little bit better. It wasn't super hot like Florida, but it wasn't super cold like Jersey. And I like the more relaxed pace. And so after college, I moved back to Jersey. Ultimately, I lived there, and then Delaware, and then briefly in Maryland, but just outside of Delaware. So I was all in that kind of the same area. But then a few years ago, my wife and I just decided we wanted a change, just completely uproot and change. And we had come to North Carolina a couple of times for a tech conference that I was doing. I was attending in Raleigh, even spoke out once or twice. And we just loved it every time we came down. And every time I got there, it just reminded me of all those fun times we had in college and just the people. And so we decided to move down here. Originally, we were going to move to Raleigh, but my wife's company couldn't get her into their office in that area. But they're like, oh, we can get you into the office in High Point. Didn't know much about this area, Winston, but we came out here, spent a little time in Kernersville, and then we bought a house in Winston. And I'll tell you, I really love being out here. The only thing that I would say that I don't like about it, if we could figure out a way to move the beach a lot closer
A
to
little
Winston,
closer.
I would be happy. So I don't want any sort of natural disaster to make that happen, of course. We don't need half of North Carolina to fall off into the ocean. But if there was a way that I could somehow get the beach a little bit closer to Winston, I think I'd be really happy because I never in my life until now have I ever lived more than 2 hours from the beach. So it
Yes.
kills me.
Yes, yes. Well, I can actually say that I really do love living close to the ocean. It is something different. But what do you like about Winston? What is it that you guys really enjoy about Winston area?
Well, first off, I mean, there's so many different things around here. Like if you want to be in the mountains, you can be in the mountains very quickly.
Hmm.
Um, Now, I haven't been to many of these yet, but I know there's a lot of really nice lakes to the south that you can go and hang out on the lakes. But people just around here are just very friendly. Also, I've never been a huge city person because I kind of grew up in the country. Even though I was outside of Philly, I hate going into cities. Hate driving in them. I hate the traffic. I hate all of that. I love going into Winston. It's so easy to get into. There's plenty of parking. It's to me, it doesn't even really feel like a city. I love just going downtown. There's a co-working space that well, again, pre-quarantine, used to go to all the time. I could just get right. I mean, from my house,
That's nice.
from where I am, I can just jump on a road in 15 minutes, be downtown Winston. It's great. And
Nice.
traffic, you have to go out of your way to find a traffic jam around here. Like if you see
That's
traffic,
true.
there is something major going on. You know what I'm saying? Whereas
Right.
if we had ended up in Raleigh area, I think I would have hated it because I know what the traffic is like out there. No, not for me.
It
That's
is
why I
nice.
left Jersey.
Right, right, to get away from the traffic. Yes. Well, excellent. Well, tell me about how people can get in touch with you, and if there's anything else you want to bring up, that'd be great.
Sure, you can find all the information about me at neighborhoodstage.com. Now, it seems like a weird name, but that actually came from the first podcast that I ever did. And I was kind of a funny story. After I listened to that first podcast, I'm like, oh, I want to do a podcast. I want to do a podcast. I had dabbled a little bit in radio years before, and I was really missing it, but I didn't know what to do it on. So I thought, well, I got three passions here. I got Disney, love Disney. I love NASCAR, and I love community theater. Well, at the time, I thought, well, let me do a Disney podcast. At the time, that I thought the field of Disney podcasts was saturated. I mean, there were almost 10 Disney podcasts out there. I'm like, what am I going to find? Who's going to ever want more than 10 Disney podcasts? By the way, at one point, I was listening to 50 different Disney podcasts. But at the time, I thought, hey, this is just way too oversaturated. So then, I thought I'll do one on NASCAR. Well, then I found one on NASCAR, and they had all these drivers and everything else. I'm like, well, it's probably not going to be able to compete with that. So I ended up doing one on community theater. It was called Your Neighborhood Stage, and we interviewed community theater companies from across the country. It was co-hosted by my friend who I'd actually done a NASCAR radio show with years before, but he was also in the community theater, and so we did that. And then the company was actually started. Sorry, the company was actually started because we had a client that wanted to sponsor us. He's like, "But you got to be a real company." So, hence that's how the company got started. But kept the name ever
Nice.
since. But yeah, people can just go to neighborhoodstage.com and there you can see all the different services that we offer. There's ways you can contact me. Again, I'm always open for you to set up a meeting with me. We'll just jump on, we'll talk about whatever ideas you have. And if I can help you, I will tell you so. And if I can't, maybe I'll push you in the right direction of people that can.
Most definitely. That sounds great. Yes, yes. And just a last question about what would you say to to somebody who is interested in, working in something that they really like to do, even though they may have a full-time job, but they'd like to dabble a little bit. Would you have any suggestions for them about working in their home or working on something they would like to do?
Well, I mean, it depends on what it is that you want to do, but the good thing about the age that we live in is that you can pretty much do almost anything with your computer in your home. You know, case in point, those videos that I've been putting out, I'm not a video guy. I mean, I did some back in college, obviously, but I don't have, fancy video cameras and video editing suites and all that. But I put together the script. I did the audio, recorded that. I do have a vocal booth here in the house because I, dabble in voiceover. But you don't even need to do that. You can get a half decent mic even for podcasting. Record that. There's a website that I go to for royalty-free music and video and images. And I go on there and I pull those and put the whole video together using just simple software. And that's what I love about the age that we live in. You really can do whatever you want, and it's not going to necessarily cost you an arm and a leg to do it. So that's why I say, if you've got anything you've always dreamed about doing, just try it. Mm-hmm. Spend a little extra time on it. Maybe you spend a little bit of money, but you probably don't have to spend a lot, and just see where it goes, whether it's podcasting or videos or social media, whatever. Just do it. Oh, that sounds like a good tagline. I wonder if I could. Yeah.
It does. It does. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I have my coaching business that I'm really enjoying, and I do it all virtually. All of my clients are either in the United States or in Europe, and it's really nice. Even though we may not be in the same room, you still feel like you're in the same room with somebody in what I'm doing. And I'm really enjoying doing this podcast as well, talking with people like you, business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that have businesses in North Carolina. And I love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I can tell you enjoy your work too, and what you're doing. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to be a guest on the North Carolina Business Podcast.
Not a problem. I really enjoy it, and thank you for having me.
Yes, it's been great. Take care, and I will definitely talk with you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the North Carolina Business Podcast. If you're listening on iTunes, please subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the little bell beside the subscribe button so you'll be notified when the next episode comes out. If you or anyone you know is a North Carolina business owner and would like to be on this podcast, please let me know by sending an email to amanda@bestlifeinspire.com. Thank you very much, and we look forward to you joining us on the next episode.